What's the crack, lads and ladies around the feckin' world? It is time to check out some more Halo content. Lads, ladies around the world, it is time to dive into the terminals of both Halo 3 and 4. So in this video, we will be reading the Halo 3 terminals and then going into the Halo 4 terminals as well. Now, I know a lot of you here on YouTube haven't seen the full Let's Play of Halo 4, but I assure you, I have completed it over on my Twitch. So if you haven't followed me there, make sure you do so now by following me at twitch.tv/DVGeek. You'll also see the VODs there now, so if you can go check them out for yourselves, the full, raw, unedited versions of my playthrough of Halo 4. Go over there now and have fun and enjoy that, and make sure you do leave a follow over there. But in the meantime, if you have patience, it will be dropping here on YouTube. Part 2 will be dropping as soon as tomorrow, and then the ending of Halo 2 will be next, or Halo 4 will be next week, and you guys will see that as well. Now this Saturday we are going to be streaming Halo 5 for the very first time. Now, I loved Halo 4, I enjoyed it, I genuinely did. You can see my opinions on that over on Twitch. But now, we're going to be checking out the Halo 3 and Halo 4 terminals, as I have not seen the Halo 3 terminals, and I know it's more of a reading thing. So we're going to read through all of that today, and then we're going to be checking out the Halo 4 terminal videos as well. Now, because I want as much context as physically possible before we start our Halo 5 journey this coming Saturday, and that is including the Halo Spartan Ops. We're going to be checking out the cutscenes of Halo Spartan Ops. That is happening as soon as Friday, I think. So anybody that has been wondering about that, that is on the schedule. It seems that a lot of people have said that I seem to be missing that on the schedule, even though it's right there plain as day. It is there for this Friday. So there's a lot of Halo content on the way this week. A ton, because I want, like I said, I want as much context as physically possible going into Halo 5, so I know what the freak is going on, because I know there's a lot of controversy with Halo 5. It's very infamous. There's a lot of hate behind Halo 5, and it has to do with something to do with the marketing and the way it was advertised and all that stuff. So I want as much context and as much filler that I need in order to fully immerse myself into Halo 5 and have a fully great understanding of that game, as well as we are going to be starting this Saturday, and I'm excited to do so. But anyway, lads, that all being said, it is time to check out the absolutely incredible terminal videos of Halo 4 and awesome texts of the Halo 3 terminals today in one sitting. So I want you guys to show that you're excited and support the channel by leaving a like here, comment down below your favorite moments of any of these terminals that we're about to check out, and of course make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube and turn on notification bells, because you're not only supporting me, but you're also turning on notifications for the entertainment that you have been waiting for, and that is Halo content. Anyway, lads, that being said, let's check out the Halo 3 and Halo 4 terminals. Here we go. So here we go with the Halo 3 terminals. Let's get into it, lads. Here we go. So first of all, most of these will go by too fast to read. I suggest pausing the video on each screen to read the text. First of all, actually, shout out to Vika's walkthroughs for this video on YouTube. Here we go. All right. Okay, so we have some text here. Observed extensive ground action on LP 656-38E. 9,045 survivors barricaded within central government building. Structures defenses inadequate to withstand extended siege by enemy ground forces. Estimated position over UN in 173 hours. Okay, so that's showing coordinates, which is interesting. 846 smaller groups in less defensible structures. Global distribution corresponding to probability model Zeta. Estimated local position overrun in 9 hours average. Okay, so a lot of this to me right now is just a lot of words put into place. Obviously you can see what's going on here, but let's see what else this has to say. Okay, observed local naval forces engage enemy irregular naval group near. And okay, so these are coordinates or something, I think. Enemy group consisted of 149 commercial shipping vessels, passengers, ferries, and private recreational vessels from neighboring system. Enemy losses were total. No damage was sustained by local naval vessels. However, it was immediately apparent that the enemy group sought only to enter this place here, atmosphere, and make landfall. In this, they were partially successful. Okay. Observed extensive ground action on this location here. Enemy forces, I lacked basic unit cohesion, but quickly gained numerical superiority. Interesting. 32 hours after enemy landfall, 83% of local naval forces advocated total destruction of the biosphere. Following the evacuation of unmolested population centers, enemy losses were total. Estimated number of citizens evacuated before commencement of orbital blanket bombardment was 1.3 million civilians, 42,669 military. So that's 0.006% of total population. That's such a small percentage. But it seems like a lot, but it's still such a small percentage of the population. Let's keep going here. Oh, what's happening here now? Road process ghost. Redirection. What's happening? Okay, here we go. Fragment 1 of 7, recorded verbatim and interpreted post-cataclysm. Okay, so categorization has sped since the improvements were announced, but there were many hurdles. The indexing of sentient species may have irreversible effects on the surviving sentient species. We will have an extinction events and irreparable environmental harm on at least 18 worlds. Current projections estimate post-archival cataclysm on as many as 31 worlds. The paucity of sentience has been a blessing in this regard. Okay. This is very very technical language. Like, you really have to look into this and see what they're talking about here. Are they talking about the flood here? I'm a little bit confused by this text. Now, I mean, obviously, you know, there's some things that you can kind of piece together, but this is where you lads come in. You know, any of you hardcore Halo fans that have done your research on this and can give me a little bit more context of what all of this is about. Because I don't want to say things that don't make sense. I don't want to say things that I think it's about and be wrong. So I want you guys to let me know. Give me some more context of what is actually happening in these words that we're giving. Because it's very, very complicated and a little bit confusing. Okay, so how formal you are. Librarian, we're receiving shipments of indexed beings more frequently than communications. Don't compound scarcity with brevity. I know things beyond the Maginot line are harried, but I worry about you. I've asked you time and time again, abandon your cataloging. Come back inside where my fleets can keep you safe. Come home. Would that it were my choice, I have committed to this course because it's the right thing to do. We no longer have the manpower or material to excuse remedial measures at a planetary level. I certainly can't justify using the transit measure to save my own skin when there are still so many innocents to protect and index. Do you know I oppose your mission, but you're exceeding its parameters Anyway, you've put yourself in jeopardy. You've done enough. If you will not come to me, I will find my way to you. Who is this talking? It's just marked as D. Who is D? I'm guessing L is the librarian. And who's D? Let's go back and see. Didact. D is Didact. That's who D is. Okay, let's go back a little bit here. So I have a little bit more. So Didact and Librarian are having a conversation here. So now I know who's actually having a conversation here. Okay, so this is the Librarian talking. Has sped up since improvements were announced, but there are many hurdles. The indexing of the... Okay, so it's the Librarian. Okay, interesting. Now I'm beginning to understand and, you know, have that little bit of context to give me an idea what this conversation is actually about. So Didact is saying here, how formal you are, Librarian. We're receiving shipments of indexed beings more frequently than communications. Don't compound scarcity with brevity. I know things beyond the Magonaut line are harried, but I worry about you. I've asked you time and time again, abandon your cataloging, come back inside where my fleets can keep you safe. So this is the Didact saying this to the Librarian. It seems that they had some sort of relations here. There was a bond here, there was care here. Didact obviously cared about the Librarian. So let's see, let's keep going. So the Librarian says, would that it were my choice, I have committed to this course because it's the right thing to do. We no longer have the manpower or material to exercise remedial measures at a planetary level. I certainly can't justify using the transit measure to save my own skin when there are still so many instances to protect and index. So the Librarian is looking after the people and, you know, taking this responsibility to see the bigger picture here. It's not about just saving her own skin. And the Didact says, you know I oppose your mission, but you're exceeding its perimeters anyway. You've put yourself in jeopardy. You've done enough. If you will not come to me, I will find my way to you. So Didact saying, just drop everything and go. You've done what you can. And then the Librarian says, we have no time to spare, Didact. Every vessel we can fill, we send to the Ark. I dare not seize the mission. Not now, not until I have done all I can. Each one of these souls is finite and precious. Am I close? Close to saving them all? And then the fragment ends.
Sudden clarity. These sentinels were trying to deny access to the lower levels of this facility. A wise decision.
Okay, hang on. That one went really fast.
A wise decision.
So, RE. Who's RE? Enemy naval tactics. When engaged, the enemy commits every supraliminal supraluminal craft. Okay, that's better. With no appreciable pattern or strategy beyond making physical contact. Conversely, all supraluminal craft leave on seemingly random trajectories. Wow, these words are fucking difficult. I understand the goal of this mission, but time, our least abundant resource, is wasted. Every time we do a system-wide scan for survivors, the time for saving lives has passed. We must accept this if we hope to win the war.
Given the meddler's preference for destructive.
Okay, so enemy ground tactics. All evidence suggests that use of overwhelming force is the very foundation of the enemy's combat doctrine, and I adamantly refuse to deploy personnel where the enemy has available forces numbering in the billions. With the very real likelihood we are rapidly becoming the last living specimens of our race. All personnel are henceforth confined to stasis until further notice. Okay. Even with everyone equipped with C12CS, we would have had very little chance of survival, let alone victory. But who the frick is RE? Am I supposed to know who RE is? These damn terminals are confusing, dude. Okay, enemy command structure. We have intercepted several transmissions from compound intelligence whose proximity to the core worlds mark them as key targets. At present, we are disassembling them new transmissions once we have more concrete conclusions. I will forward them in their entirety. Suffice it to say that their contents, the patterns that they suggest, are highly disturbing. Okay. Recommendations. It is my opinion that any system where there is evidence that the enemy has established a physical presence is lost and must be raised. This fleet currently retains the capacity to force premature stellar collapse. I advise that this be established as standard operating procedure for all compromised systems forthwith. We cannot fight this war by half measure if we intend to win. So RE is recommendations. Okay, so now I know who RE is. I don't know why I don't know how to say it at the start. It's really confusing. Okay, something else is happening here now. Okay, so fragment 2 of 7 recorded verbatim and interpreted post-cataclysm. So the librarian says, I'm close to finishing the task. The indexing and the archival process are as complete as I can hope for. If we wait longer, we risk catastrophe. We risk catastrophe. The thing has already destroyed every colony on my side of the line. Please activate the array. Okay. A Didact says, no activation is murder. A genocide larger than this galaxy has ever known. We are sworn to protect life, not destroy it. That is the mantle we were given to carry. Okay, and she says, the mantle, you still hold that fairy tale after all that was happened? After this thing has consumed 1 million worlds? Can't you see belief in the mantle sealed our doom, weakened our protectorates, bred dependence and sloth? Our so-called guardianship has stripped those we could keep safe of any capacity for self-defense. We were such noble guardians when we drew our line and abandoned billions to the parasite. Oh, now that's the flood. It is time to accept this time. The mantle has failed and we never should. Okay.
Hurry to the cartographer.
Hurry to the cartographer. Okay, Didact says, the mantle has not failed. I've already raised scores of worlds, sterilized systems, rooted and disintegrated the parasite. We're learning its tricks and strategies. We can halt this thing. We can follow in their footsteps. There are no unstoppable forces in this universe. There are no immovable objects. Everything gives you push hard enough. Okay. And what about us, Didact? We've been... Oh, jeez. We've been irresistible and immovable for too long. Maybe it's our turn to give. End of fragment. Okay, so it's a pretty heated argument. Warning, your intrusion has been logged. Okay, so 04-343, errant. Excuse me? Your intrusion has been logged and now it has been halted? On whose authority? Advice. Any further attempt to access insects under stones, okay, will result in your immediate addition to local sentinels targeting ledger. Okay. Vexation? I am the monitor of... Your authority means nothing here, says the judgment. Impatience! I have told you who I am. Who are you? All our makers once held dear. Alexandria before the fire. 04343 says, sincere apology, but how? This facility is host to librarians. The archive is intact than our maker's plan, but also maintains Below's Crucible castings. A what? Below's Crucible. Now, is it just me? Am I just too simple-minded to understand what the freak is going on here? Like, I need more context. I need somebody to give me, like, a fairly basic, you know, explanation of what exactly is going on here. I can put together what's happening between the Didact and Librarian, but everything else here is all just words thrown at me. I feel like you need to know a little bit more before you understand what is happening here in these somewhat conversations. Ernst is a foundry. For what purpose? Your intrusion has been logged. Any further attempt to access will result. And then he says, indignant. Okay. Immediate addition to local sentinels targeting legend. Okay. Fragment 3 of 7, recorded verbatim and interpreted post-cataclysm. Didact says, we have the answer. We've built Mendicant Bias. It's a contender class AI, unlike anything we've ever achieved, and we have observed a pattern it can exploit. The parasite has formed a compound mind. When it reaches a certain mass, the mind is able to recoil its desperate parts to create a tactical shield. This is simple matter of mass preservation. The thing has no compunction about sacrificing parts of the whole. But when the core of the mind is threatened, it reacts violently and quickly. This is the only time we ever see the thing retreat or slow its growth. Okay. If we are to defeat it, the trick will be coordinating our forays against the sprawling infection. While Mendicant Bias assaults the mind's core, so far we've been hesitant to use certain weapons because of the damage they cause surviving populations and environments. That protocol has now been abandoned. Okay. So they're doing everything they can now. Mendicant will draw the mind into battle outside the line, dealing with local biomass and other parts as best he can. The scale of the problem is vast, but his strategy is sound. It will require patience, material, and investment of energy, unlike anything we have ever considered. Okay. It's a dangerous plan that carries more risk than the array, but I believe it can work, even if we simply force it to retreat. To retract, that will at least give us some respite, some time to muster more resources, some time to rescue you. Okay. Are you insane? Would you risk every life in the galaxy for this transparently futile plan? Have you learned nothing in the last 300 years? The thing will laugh at your efforts. Do not let your concern for my welfare commit you to this suicidal scheme. Alright.
Sir, go on! Tower control should be up top! Alright. Not all of them are gonna be this easy.
Fleet-wide memorandum, 1 of 5. Non-combat personnel are required to wear combat skin with a minimum rating of at least class 12 in non-restricted areas. Once the fleet is underway, class 14 or lesser combat skin is acceptable in core areas. Combat personnel will only be permitted to wear combat skin rated below class 8 in core areas once operations begin. Alright. Yeah! All combat personnel have been issued combat skin rated at class 4-1 or class 6-1 battle harness, depending on military occupational speciality. All weapon platform specialists are expected to wear their issued platform interface skin at all times to ensure peak mind-machine synchronization. Okay, all equipment lockers will remain sealed until post-briefing gear distribution commences. Okay, so it's talking about the combat scheme, which is interesting. Fleet-wide Memorandum 3 of 5. Those individuals that have yet to register their equipment control key code with Fleet Command should do so at their earliest opportunity. Compliance is not optional. Non-compliance will result in... whatever that's supposed to be. Thread ends unexpectedly. Result in what? What was the punishment for not doing so? What is happening? Okay. Fragment 4 of 7 recorded verbatim and interpreted post-cataclysm. Something is wrong. It's moving away at night. I can see it. Flitting. Shadows black against the stars. Thousands of ships. Not spiraling outward but heading for the line. This is the tipping point. Didact, it's no longer feeding. It's coming for you. Shit. I've remotely destroyed our key ships, a security measure with it. Without them, I cannot reach the Ark, but neither then can the thing. I'm trapped on a beautiful empty world. Its inhabitants have been safely indexed, every single one of them. They're special, well worth the effort it took to build one final gateway, even at this late hour. So the Librarian saved them all. This may be our last communication. I'm begging you. Fire the array. Light the weapon and let it be done. Just get the job done, Didact. We've confirmed your observations. Infected supraluminal ships are arriving inward from several clusters. No more spiral growth. The thing is counterattacking, suppressing security, and emergency circumstance fleets are all being recalled. Systems are evacuating. Mendicant Bias is no longer communicating with us. But now I can guess where you are. He is determined. He is determined. Considering the enemy compound intelligence raw computing power, the key shift strategy will only remain viable for another 657,000 hours, and this current stalemate has the potential to last considerably longer than that. With my understanding of the enemy's modus operandi, its logical boundaries and catalogue of witness, I have devised what I believe is our most sound fallback strategy. By cutting fire breaks into the core world's volume, we would be able to frustrate the enemy's advances for approximately 70,080 hours and lure them into costly naval battles. While its resources on the ground are effectively limitless, it has a finite number of vessels to spread from system to system. Fortunately, the majority of them are unarmed, and unarmed private and commercial craft. Unarmored private commercial craft. If we start immediately, commence total biosphere elimination of life-sustaining worlds as indicated in accompanying charts, and relocate evacuated populations to faculties such as those described in the Onyx project. All this could be achieved in 57... Wait, what? That's a big number. Something hours. I'm not even going to bother. I kill you all and I enjoy it. I destroy you in your indolent billions, in your gluttony, in your self-righteousness, in your arrogance. I pound your cities into dust. Turn back the clock on your civilization's progress. What has taken you millennia to achieve, I erase in seconds. Who the fuck? Welcome back to the Stone Age, vermin. Welcome home. What the fuck? Contender, confirm rampant. Who's saying that? Follow-up report from the primary pioneer group. Hereafter PPG is 173 hours delinquent. Report. Seemed most promising, a planet capable of supporting life located within the near border region of the galactic halo, with no indigenous sentient species. The section indicating no fauna of any kind shall be considered anomalous until verified by Advanced Survey Team Alpha. Hereafter AST-A, Team Leader something, if confirmed, that fact alone would justify the dispatch of an investigative group to G617G. There's just a lot of just words thrown at me here. If neither the PPG nor the ASTA have delivered a follow-up report within the next 333 hours, this office will have no recourse but to send a medium intensity military exploratory detachment to determine the exact nature of the previously mentioned delinquency. Like, this, I'm so confused with a lot of this, man. Like, I feel stupid. I don't know why. I feel like, I don't know, it's just gibberish to me, a lot of this. Okay. Begin fragment 6 of 7, recorded verbatim and interpreted post-cataclysm. Librarian. My work is done. The portal is inactive and I've begun the burial measures. Soon there'll be nothing but sand, rock and normal ferret signatures. You should see the mountain that watches over it. A beautiful thing. A snow-capped sentinel. That's where I will spend what time is left to me. Did I tell you I built a garden? The earth is so rich. A seed falls and a tree sprouts or a flower blooms. There's so much potential. We knew this was a special place because of them. But unless you've been here, you can't know. Oh, it's Eden. Okay, so this is starting to make some sense to me now. I have to stop transmitting. The thing is listening. It's thinking dead, are babbling, laughing through every channel they can find. Be proud, the mind claims victory, yet it still doesn't suspect you've outwitted it. My love, and now you can destroy it, but you cannot save me. Fragment ends.
It was the coin's fault! I wanted to make you strong, keep you safe. I'm sorry, I can't.
Cortana losing her shit there. Father, I hope this message finds you well and helps you understand my decision. Today I leave the only world I have ever called home, not for glory or the anomalous desire to end another's life, as you have indicated, but to travel the path of demons, to spare the hands of another father's son. Okay. Had we acted sooner, had we acted more decisively, living in the past, in the none of us can afford, we must learn from it. But we cannot live there. It is impossible to plan for the now. The present is ever fleeting. The future is where we must live. The future is what we must plan for. Okay. I do not look to trade my life in order to preserve our past, but to secure the future, and if not ours, then the future of some culture yet to come. Isn't it sacrificing its in the interests of others what you spoke of as being so noble? Should I have allowed another to bloody his hands while I remained safe behind a shield of privilege? You raised me better than that. Filial devotion. Fragment 7 of 7. Didact, proud? When I have failed you utterly, how can I feel anything but sorrow? Bias has come undone. He crossed the line this morning, brought the abomination with him, and destroyed your waiting rescue party. It's over. We're activating the destructive arrayed matrix, our shameful last resort. I can picture you in your garden, surveying all you have created, surveying all you have preserved, and I curse the circumstance that keeps my finger on the trigger. Of all the fates to befall us, this is the cruelest of all. My inaction and hesitation and foolishness kept me here, on the wrong side of the line, and 300 years of our society's failure and miscalculation makes me your executioner. It's too much to bear. Error. No carrier or receipt available. Dead end transmission. Information destroyed in transit. Mendicant Bias is trying to prevent us from firing the array. He speeds back to the Ark, but he won't succeed. Offensive Bias will stop him. And I will burn this stinking menace in your name. And then I will begin our great journey without you. Carrying this bitter record, those who come after will know what we bought with this false transcendence. What you bought and the price you paid. Fragment ends. No, there is more, but you are not worthy. Not yet. Okay, so that was the Halo 3 terminals. Some of it made sense. A lot of it, I had no context whatsoever. I so confused. I feel stupid. I don't know why. But this was not easy to understand. I wonder if there's a video. Halo 3 terminals explained. Let's watch this Hidden Xperia video. That might give us a little bit more of an explanation.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today I thought we'd take a look at how Mendicant Bias, a character so mysterious and who seemingly only popped up a few times, mostly in the expanded universe and not even in the games, has actually affected and influenced Halo's story without you even realizing, specifically Halo 2 and Halo 3. Mind blown. So, starting off with Halo 2, Mendicant Bias was actually on High Charity at the same time as Chief during the final act of Halo 2. How did it get there, I hear you ask? Well, a long time before the events of Halo 2, a fragment of Mendicant Bias found its way on board a key ship and escaped the Ark on it, intending to atone for its crimes against its makers by aiding humanity. However, the key ship it was on board ended up crash landing on the Sanshayum homeworld, Jandraquam. After ultimately being located and explored by them, the Sanshayum found Mendicant, and considering it was a foreigner relic, they worshipped it with the highest authority, eventually making it the centerpiece of the Holy Covenant city, High Charity. But it did more than just exist on High Charity at the same time as Chief. It actually has functional significance to the story, and even a small line of dialogue in Halo 2 that is indirectly about it. On the mission High Charity, believe it or not, Chief's main goal is to get to the key ship in the center of the Holy City before it launches. However, during the earliest stages of the mission, Cortana notes that she's doing her best to withhold the launch sequence before Chief gets there, and that what she's fighting to stop the sequence is oddly intelligent for a Covenant AI.
I'll do what I can to slow the launch sequence. There's something inside the ship, a presence, fighting back. For a Covenant construct, it's unusually formidable.
In reality, she's not fighting a Covenant AI, she's fighting Mendicant Bias. So throughout the entirety of the mission, Cortana is locked in this tight duel with the most formidable foreigner AI ever to exist, who led their entire species to extinction. This means that when Chief is on board the key ship headed to the Ark portal on Earth, he's on the same ship as Mendicant Bias. Now, maybe it's just me, but the fact that he was that close to it is just crazy, considering the absolute gigantic significance of both Mendicant Bias and also Chief as a reclaimer.
Interesting.
So, moving on to its influences in Halo 3, Bias was transported to the Ark on the key ship through the Void portal, where it was ultimately reunited with the part of itself that was left on the Ark for hundreds of thousands of years, and ended up reconstructing itself. This reconstruction gave it far more power, allowing it to regain control over its processors, bringing it closer to par with its former self, although background processors on the Ark called daemons were triggered by this, and they tried to prevent it from accessing the facility's systems, but were ultimately unsuccessful. Once it was rebuilt and connected to the Ark systems, it connected to the terminal network and actually got in direct contact with Chief, where it declared its ultimate intentions. In the final terminal before the ziggurat, it states that Offensive Bias was a far cruder AI, and that its own weakness was why it won the battle, but ultimately states that it wants atonement for its sins of betrayal. It wants atonement for betraying its former masters, the Foreigners, by betraying its current masters, the Flood. How will it get this atonement? By guiding Chief safely to the Dawn, ensuring he doesn't perish on Installation 04B by the hand of the Flood, the Sentinels, or even the ring itself being torn apart.
Right.
Mendicant Bias is the reason that Chief escaped Installation 04B in one piece. He's the literal reason Chief survived, and it was all to help him atone for his sins. It's a pretty cool level of depth to Halo 3's final mission, right? Well,
yeah.
There may just be a little bit more. It may not have been a pure coincidence that Chief's half of the Dawn ended up at Requiem, the shield world that just happens to contain the dormant former nemesis of Mendicant Bias, the
Didact.
Halo Mythos states that the aft section of the Dawn, which was Chief's section, was mysteriously redirected by an outside force to a point inside the Epilogue system, on a course that would bring it near Requiem. Now, granted, this is no concrete proof, and I'll let you decide for yourself if it's referring to Mendicant Bias, or maybe something totally different, the Ark's daemons, the Ark's inner processors, maybe something completely different. But to me, it does make sense that Mendicant would send Chief, a reclaimer, to the location of the leader of the race that it committed the gravest sins against, and that it's trying to atone for.
So Mendicant Bias
and that's it.
led
The
Chief
three
to
most
Didact.
important influences Mendicant Bias has are not only Chief and Cortana, but the entire mainline Halo story, without you even noticing. It's some pretty crazy stuff, and it's one of the reasons I just fucking love this character so much. I really hope we get more Mendicant in the near future, and that he didn't die on Installation 04B. Man, I swear to God, if he's even referenced in Halo 6, I am going to implode. I think saying I'll implode is the only reasonable term for it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.
Alright, so thanks Hidden Xperia for that hidden insight. Okay, so obviously, you know, from being somebody that plays Halo, you know, not at a point of like hardcore fanism, if that's such a word that I just made up, but somebody that has just been slowly, well, quickly introduced to the Halo world and has been very, very much so enjoying the games because they're just fun and I love the story and everything else. But like I said, I'm still so lackluster with the lore, the intricate information that is behind Halo, that's not even explored in the Halo games. And the terminals of Halo 3, to me, was just so confusing because I think you need to have that level of knowledge of, you know, everything that's happened in the background of Halo to really kind of know, you know, words that have been used, character references that have been made, and stuff like that to really understand what Terminals 3 were trying to explain and what they were saying. But from Hidden Xperia's video, I have somewhat of an idea from that. And it seems that Halo 3, Chief was being guided. And the reason how Chief escaped in the first place was because of this artificial intelligence. And, you know, it's so weird that they decided not to really explain this stuff in the games. Obviously, maybe it's probably a little bit too complex for anybody that's just casually a casual gamer of Halo and just likes playing the game and enjoying, you know, the basics of the story. But there's so much more to Halo. Like, there's so much more. And I think, you know, more and more time spent learning about all of these hidden pieces of information and lore could make you, like, fall in love with this franchise. Not because it's a really fun video game, but because it's got one hell of a complex and interesting story. So thank you, Hidden Xperia, for giving some more context to that. There's still a lot of stuff that I didn't fully understand in the Halo 3 terminals, but I intend on looking into it a little bit more and understanding a lot more. But it is very interesting how he made the link of how Chief ended up on Requiem and ended up facing against the Didact himself. So really, really interesting stuff. Like, that shit was mind-blowing. Very much so. So I need to look more into this story. Because, dude, that's so interesting. But anyway, that was the Hidden 3 terminals. It is time to check out the Halo 4 terminals. Here we go. Okay, so now we have the Halo 4 terminal videos. Now these are videos, so this is going to be a little bit easier for me to understand because I'm a doofus and I don't understand complicated stuff. So we're going to check out Halo 4 and see what this has to offer. A lot of you guys really want me to check these out, so here we go.
Enemies move deeper into our territory with abandon. They must be eradicated.
Shall we take revenge? Abandon the mantle and all that its philosophy has given us these 1,000 generations?
All our plans have been torn asunder.
More reason not to abandon our beliefs. The mantle is our guidepost in times such as these. We must not falter in following its teachings. The enemy must be sent home and taught to stand with the galaxy, rather than rail against us and take what they desire. The mantle shelters all.
Didact, you make a fair, if uncomfortable, point. You have my support. Librarian, will you likewise follow the mantle as the Didact suggests?
Yes, Master Builder.
You're not angry at me.
We had this discussion a century ago.
Ah, so you are angry at me.
In the chambers, yes. But not now. You'll depart for Requiem soon?
At dawn. My Prometheans are already there.
Already there? You knew the Master Builder would side with you.
Should we step back inside the council chamber?
Okay.
No. I would rather we spend our night out here. There will be fighting enough in the days ahead.
So they did have relations. Okay. So I'm not completely stupid.
My love, put fear from your heart.
War is your realm, Didact, not mine. And you marched to this war, facing foes that, while always aggressive, were never so aggressive as they are now.
Your fears are unfounded. The enemy will be turned, and I shall stand by your side once more.
Promise me that.
I promise you. Nothing will stand between us.
Lord of Admirals, we are in position over the Forerunner planet.
Show me.
Population numbering over 2 billion. Forerunner ships on alert and inbound.
Is it possible? Have we gotten ahead of it?
Flood infestation detected, my lord.
Oh shit.
Damn it!
My lord, the infestation is in a remote locale. Perhaps if we warn the Forerunners?
If we warn them, we give the flood time to spread. You know we have no choice. Cleanse the planet.
Just like that. Jesus, just like that. Cleanse the planet. Fuck everybody else as long as we get rid of the flood.
The humans' actions threaten the galaxy, yet we have treated them as the mantle required. Their punishment is just.
Justice is reducing their genetics in such short generations from a spacefaring race to... this?
They are closer now to the animals they behaved as.
If not for their encounter with the Flood, their gene plan could have surpassed our own. They could have someday held the mantle of responsibility.
The humans were not meant to protect others. The mantle of responsibility for all things is ours, and ours alone.
Yes, the mantle is ours. And we hold it so tight that even in death we shall hold it still.
Holy shit, so they reduced planet Earth back to fucking Stone Age when we were already well in advance.
Lord of Admirals. So very many years have we battled. My finest opponents. The mantle accepts all who live fiercely, who defend their young, build and struggle, and grow. And even those who dominate, as humans have dominated, cruelly, without wisdom.
Whoa.
But for all of us, there is a time like this. And for you, that time is now. Know this, relentless enemy, killer of our children, Lord of Admirals. Soon we will face the enemy you have faced. And we are afraid.
My life workers are investigating.
Studying the flood.
I believe the humans were never attacking us.
Tell that to the millions of dead.
The humans were acting as caretakers, pruning away planets so that this infection would not spread.
They took the mantle of responsibility upon themselves. And in so doing, they brought this sickness to our shores.
Husband.
Oh, they're married. Okay.
The Flood cover more of our galaxy with each passing day. They feast on the essence of life itself. The only way to stop their advance is to remove that life upon which they feast.
My life workers have made plans for the reseeding of humanity, and of all life after the halos are fired.
So you agree the halos are our only solution?
I do.
And your husband?
My husband has a different opinion of what steps to take against the Flood.
Right, okay. So the Halo 3 terminals are starting to really make sense now.
Run the simulation.
This is basically a lot of what was happening in the Halo 3 terminals.
The procedure is a failure. I am still susceptible to Flood infection.
That leaves only the composer.
It will not work on my new form.
Then you will lead us, as always.
You would submit to such sacrifice.
Didact. If the composer is our final hope to defeat the Flood, no Promethean would resist.
I have led you, my Prometheans, for thousands of years, and I shall continue to lead you. Rise! Rise and protect the Forerunners! Rise and protect the galaxy!
So that's his army, the Prometheans. Okay, this is really cool.
Your kind brought the Flood to our shores. Now you will aid in ending its threat.
Oh shit. What the fuck?
They were to be safe here. I ensured they would rise once more, better than before.
Your pets have a nobler purpose ahead of them.
You do not face me in person after your deceit.
I have an army to build from the raw materials harvested this day. The citizens of this Halo are my first conscripts, and with them in my thrall, the Flood will meet its defeat. Humanity's loss of biological form will serve as final payment for their crimes. It is a kindness they do not deserve.
Didact's a dick.
Move the other humans to safety. Ensure
What
the
a
security of the
dick.
index samples. They must finish what we have failed to do.
Librarian, where are you going?
To stop my husband's madness. My dear husband, I know your crimes, and I have found forgiveness. I know your reasons. I understand them. I know you. Perhaps better than you could ever hope to know yourself.
Oh shit.
Forgive my transgressions. Like yourself. All I have done. I have done for the greater good. Our time as the galaxy's caretakers is past. The Flood have overrun us. In the days to come, the Halo rings will fire, eradicating the Flood and all other life for a time. I have worked hard to index all species in known space. When the time comes, these indexes will open, and once more the galaxy will breathe and grow. Blood will pump, life will claw its way out of the oceans and through the mud. Babes will be born and grow old under the warmth of 1,000 suns.
Man, it's music. Listen to it.
Civilizations will rise in our stead, and our job as caretakers will at last bear fruit. Until then, I leave you here, my love. The only living thing in this galaxy, sealed safely away. Spend these ages ahead of you in meditation on your choices. When you wake, you will find the humans. I have ensured that they will grow strong and vibrant. They will be our rightful heirs. Their gene plan dictates that the galaxy will be theirs to care for by then. I beg of you, find the strength to help them learn from our mistakes. And my husband, let them teach you as well. Please.
Holy fuck. Okay, so that gave me a whole lot of context of everything that had happened before, well, Chief made his appearance onto Requiem. Alright, so let's kind of talk briefly about what we just witnessed here today, lads. Alright, so we've just concluded both the Halo 3 terminals and Halo 4. And to be just brutally honest with you, lads, the Halo 3 terminals were very confusing to me. Simply because it was all written in code. It's very complicated, very congested information, and it wasn't very easy for me to put things together. But I did get from it that there was a constant debate and conflict between the Librarian and Didact, and then I began to realize that it seems like there was some sort of romantic relations there. Now, I don't think that was highlighted in Halo 4. Obviously, we've seen the Librarian, seen Didact in Halo 4. I wasn't sure, and I cannot remember the Librarian saying anything about Didact being her husband. Maybe she did, and it just kind of went over my head and I forgot. But it shows here. And it seems that they had very different opinions on how to eradicate the parasite, the Flood. And, you know, obviously we got all of this origin before, way back before I started playing any of these games that we're playing now. You know, I did get some context of the story of Halo, the Forerunners, and how they created the Halos to eradicate the Flood and all of this. Like, this is way before anything. And it seems like in this, we got, you know, the explanation of what means were necessary to dispose of the Flood, eradicate them, so, you know, life can flourish and life can continue. And Didact wanted his own ways of doing that. And his way of doing it was building an army big enough and strong enough to take down the Flood and exterminate them. But it seemed that the Librarian knew, and, you know, her boards that she was talking to also knew that the only way to eradicate them was, of course, using the Halos and just eradicate all life around the infection. And that was the only way you could do it. And obviously, Didact had his own way of doing things, and they didn't agree. So the Librarian took upon herself to stop Didact and do what was necessary, and had hidden Didact away in Planet Requiem and sealed him away for many, many years. But the shocking thing about all of this is the fact that the humans were already very, very much advanced. And as the Librarian said, we were going to take over. We were going to take on the mantle of being the overseers, the caretakers of the universe. Because the Librarian seen that we had that potential of taking over, and that the Forerunners' time was done. They have lived their lives and they've done their job, and now it's time to pass the torch over. And the Librarian seen that the human race was in fact the race to take over. But it's just interesting how the human race were already very much advanced, and then to be reduced back down to the Stone Age, as the Didact said, now they're more suited to their animal-like behavior. And then it's seen, okay, so I need a bigger, stronger army, and decided, okay, let's just get rid of all the humans on Earth and make use of all the raw materials to build an army to dispose of the Flood. So whatever way you look at it, both the Didact and the Librarians' means of eradicating the Flood was going to involve billions of lives to do so, because it's the only way. But the Didact was a little bit more aggressive and cruel, rather than a quick death to eradicate a parasite that would cause years and years of suffering. Do it with a click of a finger, you know, by using the halos. Painless, cruelless death. But the Didact had his own way of doing things. He wanted the Forerunners to constantly be the overseers, to be the caretakers. He didn't want any other race taken over because he was too proud. He wanted to constantly be the leader and the caretakers of the universe. Which is fine. It's interesting. I do like this. I do like this context of the story. And I love how everything was kind of fate. Like, fate brought Chief to Requiem. Everything, you know, was connected. It was all the path that Chief was on was foreseen many, many years in the past. You know, this was supposed to happen. The humans were supposed to take over. And I think that's very interesting. So there is a lot of stuff in this. There's a lot of information. There's so much thrown at me at once that it's very hard for me to find a starting point and to kind of put things together. You know, right now, to me, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle. And I'm trying to piece everything together myself. And it is slowly coming together. And I feel like it takes a lot of revision and going back over some things to really get a full picture of everything that's happened in the Halo verse. But I can honestly say that I love it and I enjoy it, and I love all of this, you know, hidden information and context to the story, and more impactful and influential characters that are present but are not actually there in the video games, because it just makes it worth looking deeper into the lore and the story of certain elements that have happened throughout all of the Halo games. And I enjoy that. I genuinely do. So just because, you know, I'm playing the games and I'm enjoying the games for what they are, which is entertainment, it's a video games to have fun, and, you know, that all is good. But everything else that is a part of the Halo universe, you know, the stories, the characters, the history, the origin, you know, the connection, the relations between characters, that's what makes Halo more than just a video game and something to really respect and behold, because the storytelling is something else, and the amount of stories and information behind this video game is crazy. It's fucking nuts. So yeah, there's still so much more for me to take in, and I plan on doing so throughout the year, and hopefully going into Infinite I'll know everything there is to know. Maybe not everything, but a lot. And I look forward to it. I look forward to, you know, going through Halo Infinite and getting shocked and, you know, mind blown when certain characters or certain references are being made that the casual Halo player would not understand. I can't wait. I look forward to being the person that gets mind blown by these subtle references. And I like that, whether it's movies, TV shows, video games. You know, little foreshadowing that has happened in the past, everything that has been, you know, mentioned slightly or lightly here and there, you know, is actually a part of a bigger picture. And when you hear that or see that, you know, as a part of the experience in playing a video game, it just makes it that much more sweeter. So I look forward to that. But anyway, that was my reaction to the Halo 3 and Halo 4 terminals, lads. Like I said, please simplify the Halo 3 terminals a little bit more for me. I feel like there was more people conversing in the terminals, and I couldn't really understand or kind of like fully understand who was saying what. So please just make it a little bit, you know, I want to say understandable for me in the comment section by, you know, simplifying it as much as you can, so I kind of have a brief understanding of everything that had happened in the Halo 3 terminals. But a lot of it that had happened between the Librarian and Didact, I did understand, and, you know, Halo 4 terminals pretty much confirmed all of that and gave me that in picture video format. So I enjoyed this, and I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction and my thoughts to it. If you did, leave a like in the video, and of course if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well and be a part of the community here, because, you know, Halo is a huge part of this channel right now, but there's a lot of great things on the way and a lot of big titles as well that I know a lot of you will be very interested in as well. So definitely hit that sub button, because it's worth it. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching, dudes. And as always, stay geeky, stay cool, be awesome, and be happy. And I'll see you, dudes, in my next Halo video. See you later, dudes.